The 2021 top-of-the-line Buick SUV. You can see top of the line because it says Avenir on it. That's the top-of-the-line model. It's an Enclave, of course, and it's got the classic Buick crest. Now, first, don't get confused. They sell them in China, too, but the Chinese are a different vehicle. They're made in China for the Chinese market. My grandfather taught me how to fix cars, was a Buick fanatic. He loved Buick. He's probably rolling over in his grave because they don't make cars anymore. They only make SUVs. Now, for a short time, they still had that station wagon, but it wasn't really a Buick. It was a rebadged Opel, a German car, because GM used to own Opel. Just like when Cadillacs used to have those cars that were just rebadged Opels. They often tried selling people cars that they say were Cadillacs or Buicks, but they're actually German cars. This is an American Buick made in Lansing, Michigan. Especially considering that the base model of these are about $5,500 more than the base model of the Highlander, and the top of the line, it's about $6,500 more than the top of the line Highlander. You're actually going to pay more for this. It is a luxury car, there's no arguing that, but most people have gone for Toyotas instead. When I was a kid, they had an advertisement, wouldn't you really rather have a Buick, and they were sold as luxury cars. Now, as you look inside, you've got all kinds of space if you want to carry things, and of course, you can take the seats out and really have a lot more room. You got a lot of controls for the passengers. You got AC vents and heat vents in the top. For the third row seats, they got vents too. This is a real luxury SUV. This is just a front wheel drive. The rear wheels just go down the road. They're not drive wheels. If you don't need all-wheel drive, don't buy all-wheel drive. One, you pay more for it. Two, it weighs more. It has extra drive wheels. They get worse gas mileage. Sometimes 3 to 5 miles a gallon less than just a two-wheel drive vehicle. And they're front-wheel drive. They can go through all kinds of stuff. My mother went through Buffalo with a front-wheel drive car and didn't even put snow tires on the thing. Okay, it's got a stupid beauty cover, and this one is bolted on, so I can't tear it off easily. I don't like that. Now, I do have to say, there's some strange orangish reddish stuff all over the place. He has a squirrel issue. And so, he has put cayenne pepper all over. He says it's worked so far. The squirrels aren't messing around in there. Yeah, they'll go in there when it's cold outside. They want to get warm and they can make a nest. They can destroy your car. Why not try cayenne pepper? Now myself, I tried cayenne pepper to keep the pigs out of the wife's garden. Forget that. The pigs had a taste for it. They were actually digging it up and chewing on the stuff. And I bought a gallon. Put it all over the place. You can't stop pigs. He said it stopped the squirrels. They did $3,000 worth of damage, but he had full coverage, so the insurance company paid for the damage from the squirrels. I don't know how often they keep paying for it. That's why he put the pepper there. Who wants to deal with that? So, if you live in a squirrel-infested neighborhood, perhaps sprinkle cayenne pepper liberally under your hood to keep the squirrels from going in. Now, he drives this thing sometimes in the security job. He drives fast, so he actually put drilled and slotted rotors on it. They don't come with it. These particular ones are for R1 Concepts in California, and he says he doesn't get any fade now. Now, the normal person isn't going to go that far. There are, with luxury cars, all kinds of options that you can put on later. Realize one thing, the guy who bought this, he maintains his vehicle. His car was a GMC Acadia. He put 127,000 miles on that, and he didn't have any problems. He changed the oil regularly. You have to take care of it. This is variable valve timing. It has high pressure fuel injection system. Now, this one doesn't have a turbo, and that's probably a good idea. These 6 engines have a lot of power anyway, and if you put a turbo on it and raise the power, the weakest point of these other automatic transmissions. The reason they got rid of Acadia was because the tranny was starting to have problems at 126,000 miles. So you don't want to beat the transmissions and put a turbo on it. You want to baby it. Now, his earlier one was a 6-speed, and this is the new 9-speed transmission. We'll see how they hold up over time. I haven't seen any particular big problems with them yet, so one of the reasons that he can get the good gas mileage on the highway. Now, the owner is honest. He admits with this 9-speed, sometimes the shifts feel a little wonky. Almost every single 9 or 10-speed transmission in any vehicle I've driven is a little wonky because they're trying to maximize power but gas mileage at the same time. So you'll always be at a certain situation, like say you're going 32 miles an hour and it's between gears. It might go up and down a little bit, feel a little wonky when you're going uphill or downhill. That's pretty normal for these things. things because they're trying to maximize power versus gas mileage. There's plenty of vehicles you can buy that have really tight shifting transmissions, and in a vehicle this size, they'll probably get 15 miles a gallon. Well, if you're getting 27 and a half, I think you'll accept a little wonky shifting every once in a while over the tremendous amount of fuel that you're going to save. Now we're started up, you know, it's keyless, everything's keyless these days. And you can see it's got the Buick emblem coming up. It's got some good setups. It's a luxury car. That's a horn. You know where the horn is, you don't have to look for some stock or anything like that. And it's got wireless charging, dual climate control. I really like the colors, I gotta say. They got the colors set up. A nice gigantic armrest. I hate those small ones. Got a lot of storage, you can take it apart, more storage underneath. You can either cool your electric seats or heat them up. I'm not going to heat them up, it's too hot outside. And the owner just told me he hates the electric parking brake too. But that's the way all these things are going. Why on earth would you replace a cable that you step on that's going to hold it really good? Because your feet are extremely strong with an electric button, with an electric motor, more crap to break down as they age. Now, he does live in Tennessee, so he's really not going to worry about corrosion. You live in a salty northern state, all that electronic crap, electronic parking brakes, they will rust. They'll freeze on, they'll short out. But they're all going to it and there's nothing you can do about it. And as we open the back, of course, it's automatic. It's a luxury car. It's still got a reasonable chunk here with the third row seats in. They come out, move them down, you get a lot more space. You can luxuriously bring a bunch of people, and check this out. The machine does it all. No hassle of having to pull them out, lug them around. It's automatic. You got all this space. You can still have your other seats. But then when you want the people to come in, you just push another button and back they go. If you do have a lot of passengers, you still have some extra storage. You go under here, there's some reasonable space in here too. But check it up, it has a rear view mirror, but not just any rear view mirror. This is not a piece of glass. I put my fingers in there and you don't see a reflection of my fingers. You can't see me there? No, it's a completely digital camera, and you can see it's got a wide wraparound. So of course at night it's going to look better and you don't have to worry about kids' heads getting in the way or whatever. This is completely digital. So we'll press this little camera button and look what we have here. We got the whole surround view, the regular backup cameras here, but you have the regular backup camera and the rear view one at the same time. So like I said, with this wider angle, see, look, there's what you see, the wide angle. Here's what the regular one is. You can't even see the guy's mailbox. Now we'll switch from the back camera. All right, you can do some space age things. I just push this button. Now look what we have. There's a piece of my matrix over there, which like we're being watched by a drone from outer space. Let's push against here now. Now it's like the drone is in front of the car. And look, now the universe is contracting upon itself like a black hole. You can have some fun with that, but I mean, as soon as you go into basic, look, we'll go to it backwards. We'll reverse it. If you're in a really tight squeeze, check it out. You're getting a really tight view there. Let's say you're next to a wall. You're doing parallel parking, you're really close. You got no excuse with this. It sees things that are really close. You can't say, it's close, it's close. Well, you can see it's one finger away, so maybe you should stop then. Let's take it for a ride. The first thing I notice is it's a real luxury car. It has no vibrations whatsoever. It's extremely quiet inside. And it definitely has pickup, even though it's not turbocharged. But as I said earlier, you can feel a little shifty, laggy. These 9-speed transmissions, that's just the nature of the beast. They're not going to be totally crisp shifts all the time. It's basically set up for an American who wants a luxury 3-row SUV and is not a Toyota fanatic, because like I said, this equivalent model, the top of the line, $6,500 more for this than you are for a top-of-the-line Highlander. And just knowing history myself, generally the Highlanders are going to last 2 to 3 times as long as one of these will last. But, I mean, like I said, the last one this guy had, similar model to GM, was 127,000 miles, then he decided to trade it in and get this used. Now, he wasn't dumb. He didn't buy this new. He didn't pay the $55,000 sticker. He paid $35,000, so he saved $20,000 and bought one that had, at the time, 40-something thousand miles on it. Now it's got 45,815 miles on it. At least for me, it would take some getting used to. Now we'll take it out in the country for a little spin here. It handles the twisties pretty good for a large-sized SUV. And we'll get to our little drag strip here, and we will come to a stop, and we'll floor it. Here we go. It actually had a little bit of wheel spin, even though it has traction control. You can see It's got very good pickup. People buying these luxury SUVs, they want pickup. And when you have that kind of pickup and you get 27.5 miles a gallon driving 75 miles on the highway, that's something you can't really complain that much about. Lane assist, parking assist, traction control that you can turn on and off. You're getting the twisties here by the airport. It handles quite well. Definitely hugs the road pretty good. I don't feel like I'm in some boxy, high up in the air, ready to tip over vehicle. It is a luxury SUV. There's no arguing that. Now, I'm a cheapskate. Would I pay 55 grand for one of these? No. No way would I pay that kind of money. It's 6 grand more than a fancy Toyota. Brand new Nissan Rogue. His wife's nuts about it. You know, I'm not nuts about Nissans, but I'm gonna honestly analyze this car to show you the new technology that it has, how it runs, and you can decide whether you want to buy one or not. It's a nice size SUV, and in this case, it's the top of the line. It's the Platinum all-wheel drive, and it's the VC Turbo. Now, what does VC Turbo mean? Well, I'm gonna show you. It means it says VC Turbo on the top. Okay, in all seriousness, it is a 3-cylinder engine. VC stands for variable compression, and turbo means it is a turbocharger. Variable compression works like this. A normal engine has a piston on a piston rod. It goes up and down the same all the time. The piston rods are articulated, and through hydraulics and electronics, they can change how high the pistons go. You can have like an 8-to-1 compression up to 14.1 compression. The more compression you get, obviously, you're getting a little more oomph, power, pushing it down with that extra pressure. The computer decides when it's gonna use one versus the other. It's a very complex system. They've been working on these things for ages. They've had them out a little while with a 4-cylinder. This is the first one with the 3-cylinder engine. When you combine the variable compression with a turbocharger, you can get good gas mileage and an awful lot of power out of a tiny little engine. So this thing puts out 201 horsepower and 225 pound-feet of torque. That means it accelerates quite well. Now, it does have a CVT transmission. You know what I say about Janko transmissions, but this is actually a completely redesigned one. It has like 30% less friction in it. They get good gas mileage for an SUV. He gets 35 miles a gallon driving this thing around. That does show you that things haven't changed that much, because our 2007 Matrix gets 37. Now, it's smaller than this. This weighs more, and this is all-wheel drive. If you're really into gas mileage more, get the 2-wheel drive. Most people really don't need it. My mother lived in Buffalo. She had a Toyota Corolla front-wheel drive. Didn't even put snow tires on the thing, and it still worked. So, if you don't need it, you want to get a little bit better gas mileage with less complexity, don't get the all-wheel drive. But if you want it, they've been making it for quite some time. Now, the only qualm I have against these are that is very, very, very high technology. Of course, everything eventually breaks. So when this breaks, I doubt if anyone will know how to fix them. But this guy got a pretty good deal. He bought it in Poughkeepsie, New York. He didn't have to pay anything extra, and that dealer offers a lifetime, unlimited mileage powertrain warranty. If this crazy variable compression engine with all these fulcrums inside it, flying all over the place, computers operating them, CVT, Janko transmission, if it ever breaks, they gotta fix it for free. Now, it'll be interesting to see if it does break down on him, because he normally gets rid of his cars, keeps them maybe 5-6 years. The longest he had a car was the last one before this for his wife, where he had a Nissan Murano, and he got 130,000 miles on it. The only thing that broke was the microphone inside the dash for talking. He had good luck with that Murano. A lot of people don't, but he did. This has this lifetime powertrain warranty on it at this dealer. I don't know how many dealers give something like that, but that'd certainly give you peace of mind. And like I said, he didn't have to pay for it. If you remember, the guy came with that Jeep pickup truck last year, and it had a diesel engine. And I said, you know, those are Italian diesel engines. He says, yeah, I know. Series 1 had problems, Series 2 had problems, but this is Series 3. And I said, well, 2 out of 3, I don't know. Let's hope yours isn't bad. Now, he had to pay $1,000, but he paid for 100,000 mile engine warranty on it. With that Italian diesel engine, that was probably a really smart move, because generation 1 and 2, I've seen tons of guys have to have the engines replaced in them. And sometimes the replacement engines weren't very good either, because they were just broken Italian diesels that they'd fixed and put them in, and some of them, the day they got them back, oil's leaking out because they didn't even seal the gaskets right. So, you don't want to get involved in that, but at least with this, he's not going to have to worry. He says, His wife likes it so much, she might keep it more than their usual 5 years. Hey, there's no worries there, as long as the dealership stays in business. And in this case, they've been in business for 50, 60 years, he said, so I doubt that they're going out of business anytime soon. There's a lot of money involved in making these cars. Look at Kia and Hyundai, the Korean car manufacturers they're not very fond of, right? They just admitted this year they got to spend $2 billion replacing engines in their cars. That's a lot of money, right? So, if this thing does go bad, hey, he's got a warranty on it. He doesn't have to worry about it. This is the Platinum, which is top of the line. As we look inside, and if you look at the VIN number, you know what J stands for? If you don't know, you should. It means it was made in Japan. And let's face it, the Japanese build the best vehicles that they sell in Japan. My screaming Yamaha here, it was made in Japan. It still rubs like a monster. Even take this old Mercedes that's 31 years old. It's made in Deutschland and it's still running great. As for the ones made in Alabama, well, let's just say, who lost the Civil War? Now, being a Platinum edition, it's got everything. Beautiful wheels, bigger tires. We go inside. Now, it's beautifully appointed. It looks like you're inside a Gazelle or something, no? And there's all this room. It's got the dual sunroofs, you know, everything everybody wants. It's got a great screen, too. We'll turn it on so we can see it. Nissan Intelligent Mobility. Look, it's telling you it gives all your information to Nissan for various purposes. But it was so fast I couldn't read the whole thing, you know, like one of those contracts, which in the end says, yes, we have the right to your firstborn child, and we get options on the second one. Oh, the usual. And it's a nice screen. It's a good size. It doesn't go up too high and block any vision. And the coloration really goes in with the rest of the dash. And it's got a really cool tachometer, speedometer. Look at that. Ooh, space age. We got space age stuff going here. And a nice small steering wheel. And they're all doing this. They're putting a little flat point on the bottom. Kind of make it like a race car. Look, you can change the screen. You can do all kinds of stuff on it. Showing you how the variable compression's working, how the turbo's working. I mean, it's quite an interesting car. Now, he's only got 6,900 miles on it. He hasn't had any problems with it yet. Like I say, the one worry that I have about this would be the variable compression. It's a 3-cylinder, first time they made it. Very complex. And the new CVT, which of course is a Jatco CVT transmission, but it's redesigned. Only like I said, hey, the guy's not taking any chances. Where he bought it in Poughkeepsie, they said you got a lifetime powertrain warranty, so he really didn't have to worry about it. I mean, the most he ever kept a Nissan was 130,000 miles, and that was the Murano his wife had before this, so he's not complaining about it. He gets bored with cars, he said. He wants a different one because he's bored. Me, I'm bored with spending money, so I'll drive a 30-year-old car. I just don't care. Now, this is the loaded Platinum version. Out the door, he paid $42,000 for the car. Now, if you saw, I made a video on the Nissan Kicks the other day. That was a $19,000 car. So you get 2 of those for one of these. Much faster, much roomier, a lot better looking inside than an Econo box was. They both get you down the road, but you really can't compare these in terms of how they drive, how they look, and basically how you feel inside. You don't feel like you're in an Econo box. Look at all the room, and it's got all the features you'd possibly want. The steering wheel's heated. Yeah. The front seats are heated. Hey, the back seats are heated too. So your passengers in the back don't get ripped off. Into the back seats. Let's climb in there. Now, he's a big guy, and he's got the seat back really far. But it's still not even touching my knees. I got long legs. They're very comfortable. This is a real nice armrest they got in the middle. These seats, they're leather, but they're really padded well. They're very comfortable. And, of course, it's got the air conditioning and heat. You can heat the seats electronically. You can adjust it yourself back here. You got various plugs for phones or USB, whatever you want to plug in. And they got nice little pockets you can store stuff in. You know what's going to end up in there? Nothing. Dirty honkers. It's going to be full of dirty honkers. Luxury car. Got the self-openers and closers. And you can see, you got a lot of nice space. And I love these so people don't know what you have in your trunk. So they don't break your windows to steal somebody's purse or something. You got to have one of these. And of course, when you put the seats down, you can carry a lot of stuff in this. It's long. You can even carry long boards if you want to stick it all the way to the front windshields. I've done that before. And you're not going to believe this. We go under here. It's got a spare tire, but look. It's a full-size spare tire. It's not one of those little tiny donut jobs. It's an actual tire. You can lock it, you can open it from here. I mean, these things are well thought out. It opens itself, but if you have your key in your hand, you can do that old one that Ford started. You can kick under here. There it goes. It didn't like my kick. I had to go left-footed here. Look, there's my hometown, Niagara Falls. There it is. Kind of a crappy rendition of it, if you ask me. The water looks better than that. So let's take it for a spin, see how it goes. Now, I guess they think people are stupid. Push, brake, and start switch. Well, we all know that. I mean, we're not that dumb. Starts right up. Roll the window up. It's got nice automatic windows. And, of course, it's got lane departure. There's a little arrow that's in there for lane departure. It goes out and starts flashing at you. See, it's got the cool backup camera where not only does it have a wide angle, but it shows you from the top too. So you don't have to worry about running into the Mercedes that's next to you. This driveway's a stinker to get out of the way it's curved, so hey, I gotta say, I should get this for my wife's car. She backs the car up, turns it around, goes forward.
My wife does too.
Ball is in the air. I mean, look at this. It shows you everything with a really good picture, not just some stinking little one. It's really well done, I gotta say. Now, it's basically a mid-sized SUV, so it's reasonably high up in the air. I can go over this bump without having to come to a complete stop. And we're not gonna step on the gas till we get out of my neighborhood, so I don't get yelled at. Now, it's got a great Bose sound system, which you're not gonna turn on because then it'll play music and somebody will claim money out of my YouTube videos because I use their music, so. We won't turn it on, but it does sound fantastic. Like the heads-up speedometer, you know, so you can see how fast you're going, 12, 10. It really is handy, so you don't have to take your eye off the road. You can see it, but your passenger can't. So your wife doesn't know how fast you're going. So here we go. Let's see what this whoa, this three-cylinder engine has some balls to it. I gotta say, I am shocked. It's the combo of the turbo and the variable compression engine. Very complex stuff, but you step on the gas, it starts to go. There's no turbo lag in this baby. Now, it does have a Nissan cruise control system that it can steer for itself too. I mean, it's not self-driving, but really none of them are actually completely self-driving. I have to say, this is a pretty high-tech savvy car. Nissan calls it Pro Pilot Assist. Hey, it works pretty good for what it is, you know? And of course, it's got the modern everything, so as you can see, we're speeding. The speed limit's 25, and we're doing 26 now. Uh-oh, the police are gonna come get us. Now, we'll step on the gas and feel the transmission. And see, it acts like it's shifting. It doesn't have gears, but they figured out how to program these things, so it feels like a normal car. See how it goes up and down just like a normal car does. And if these things hold up, only time will tell because it's a new design. It's a great technological feature and it makes it feel normal. We just have to see what happens. Hopefully he'll have it 5 years from now and it won't break at all. But then again, he doesn't really care because he'd get a new transmission free anyway. Hey, I gotta say that the technology, it's working now and it's fun to drive. Nissan always made fun to drive cars. Of course, the driving position, you're nice and high. You get a good view. The windows are all set up quite well. The side view mirrors are huge. You really get a good view of all of them. You're not going to be surprised by anything. And what the owner finds great is when his wife's driving a car, if you get too close to somebody front or back, the car actually stops itself so you don't whack any pedestrians. Now, that's something that's definitely worthwhile. So here's a non-diehard Nissan fan saying, seems to be a pretty good car. I would really question, how long is this three-cylinder VC Turbo going to last? The newly designed CVT transmission, how much is that going to last? But the owner doesn't care because he's got a lifetime unlimited mileage warranty on the engine and the transmission. Now, from the dealership's perspective, I can understand it because a lot of people that listen to me or listen to anybody who understands mechanics is going to say, this is a phenomenal technological advancement to make the pistons go up and down different lengths. Let's face it, costs a lot of money to build these things and nobody knows how long they're really going to last. That's the thing. They're the only people that are really doing it. You don't see Toyota doing it, you don't see Honda doing it. And the main reason they're not doing it is because the promised better gas mileage didn't really come out. They thought they were going to get 20-30% better gas mileage with that system. And they were getting like maybe 4%. It didn't make all that much difference. It's kind of like, if you remember back in the day, when the Wankel engine was in the Mazdas, and they had the Mazda Cosmo. Some of those things got like 7 miles a gallon. The Wankel rotary engine, small, puts out a ton of power, but they're extremely inefficient, so they never made it. Well, this is extremely complex, and it does get good gas mileage, but that giant level of technology costs so much money to build, and we don't still know how long it's going to last, that nobody else has picked up on this yet. They're not really sold on it. We'll see what happens with this. Maybe this will be a wave of the future, or maybe it'll be like the Wankel engine, and it'll be in a few cars here or there, but it'll be an oddball thing that, well, that was interesting, we tried that, now maybe we'll try something else. Who knows? But he doesn't have to worry, so he doesn't care. When he gets his oil changed there, they give him a free rental car. Well, he gets his oil changed, his car's worked on, right? So if it did break, now, as long as you got transportation, you're not worried about it. It is fascinating technology, I'll give them that. It's very complex. I don't think anybody would be able to fix it if it finally breaks down. Now, F-150s are beautiful looking trucks. They've been around for a really long time. This guy bought it brand new. This is a 4-wheel drive version. Got the shorter bed on it. I mean, it's a beautiful truck. The only thing he's got against this truck is the transmission was kind of slippy. And it's that new fancy 10-speed transmission that has 3 overdrive gears. I had a guy over here the other day that bought a used F-150 with the same engine, but it had the 6-speed instead of the 10-speed. He got 17 miles a gallon driving from Indianapolis to here. This one can get upwards of 24 if you drive the speed limit because it's got those 3 overdrive gears. But there's also a problem related to those transmissions. Between gears 3 and 5, it would often slip on him. He took it in numerous times. They tried various things. And then eventually they changed some solenoids. Strangely enough, the guy at the dealer said, well, you know, Ford's having problems with these. You might look into this class action suit about the 10-speed transmissions. So he joined the class action suit. They settled. He used a lawyer, and the settlement was like $4,300. And he ended up pocketing 3. The lawyer got the rest. But they also kept the warranty on his transmission. Now, the weird thing about these class action lawsuits are like everything else in our society these days, there's a lot of baloney involved. Of course, Ford admitted no guilt. He wasn't the only guy that won a $4,250 judgment. There were other people too, obviously. So they got away with paying the people a certain amount of money each and keeping the warranty intact. But he said the warranty's still the same. It's 55,000 miles. They didn't add anything onto it, which is actually what they should have done. Maybe they will in the future. Who knows? They can continue to have different suits for things. Giving somebody that kind of money back, to me, they're admitting something, you know. I'm not going to hand somebody $4,250 for nothing and say, here, you know, take $4,250. What the heck, you know? And there's thousands of people that you're paying off, too. So, you know, they admitted that there's kind of a problem with these transmissions. Now, he says it works better than before. It's not perfect, but if he shifts it himself here, it doesn't have the problems. If he puts it in sport mode, he doesn't have a problem. Oh, I'm not going to take off with you. That's a scary guard dog there. He's whimpering away. If he has it in the normal drive mode like we have it here, then he says 3 to 5. Sometimes it still gets a little bit wonky. When he puts it on the other ones, especially if he puts it on sport, then it doesn't have that problem at all. He says he's had no problem with the 4-wheel drive system, shifting it manually. It's just when it's in the normal mode. Now, I see this all the time in these 10-speed transmissions. It's just pretty much typical. And the dog agrees. So let's start it up, listen to the engine. Smooth running engine. Now, it's got all kinds of fans because these things have all kinds of cooling systems under here. They don't have any overheating problems. As you can see under the hood here, hiding under there is the 5-liter engine, all that plastic nonsense. But aside from that 10-speed automatic transmission with 3 overdrives, it's a conventional engine. It's got regular fuel injectors on it. It doesn't have turbochargers. These things can last forever. If you want dependability, low maintenance, and cheaper repair, you're better off with a conventional engine with conventional fuel injectors, not having GDI, not having turbochargers. The only thing non-conventional about this was a 10-speed transmission, which did have some problems. So let's take it for a spin and see how it does. Got a nice high view because it is a 4x4. I mean, the only thing is those transmissions, so we're going to give it a little road test. Now the truck is in its homeland, farm fields. We're going for our little drag strip to see if we can get the transmission to act up a little wonky. Now granted, he admitted before it even went wonky between 6th and 8th gear, and he said he doesn't do that at all anymore. It's more between 3rd and 5th gear that he feels a little, only when it's in normal mode, not when it's in sport or eco. So we'll take it out here. Now we can get going. We're going to see if it gets a little bit wonky or not. Now go. I can feel herky-jerky there. Yeah. I can feel a little bit of herky. I felt it again, too. Now I realize it only does it between those gears. And like I said, if he puts it in sport mode, it stops, eco mode. And of course, if he shifts it manually with the buttons over here, it stops doing it then, too. So it's more a little bit of an annoyance. Now before, yeah, 6th to 8th gear it did it, but it doesn't do that anymore. So they did figure out how to get rid of a lot of the problems. And well, they gave him $4,250 and he got 3. The lawyer got the rest. That's why I tell people, if you get a choice, he bought this new, but if you get a choice, you're buying a used one, get the 6-speed transmission. You're going to get a little worse gas mileage, but I've seen those things go 200, 300, 400,000 miles. These 10-speed ones, they get wonky because they have to decide power versus gas mileage. They're set up for both. They also have adaptive learning, so they learn how you drive, and then they try to predict how you're going to do so it's smoother. So there's a lot of crazy computer involved in it that isn't involved in a simpler transmission. Now we're going to go fast. We're going to see how fast this thing will go. You can hear that engine. And you notice when we're going super fast, guess what? It isn't missing the shifts. They are extremely crisp. Very crisp shifts. They had a sports mode. They don't care about gas mileage then. Normal mode, they want to get the best gas mileage, so you often get wonky shifting. You don't want wonky shifting? Put it in sports mode. You know, then when you're on the highway, it doesn't matter. It's still going the same RPM once you get to a certain speed, or you could get where you're going fast and then put it in normal mode or even eco mode. You can see it's not that there's a physical problem, it's more software and intuitiveness of the computer deciding how you drive. Sport mode throws that all out the window. It just goes for pure speed. So now you know the truth about this F-150. Yeah, the transmission, it still has a little bit of glitches to him, but he got $3 grand back and he still has his warranty. Otherwise, he's happy with it. It was his dream truck. He retired from the Army and decided he was going to get his dream truck. And he did, and aside from the little glitchy bit of the transmission, it's never left him stranded. It still has a little bit of a glitch unless he leaves it in sports mode, and then it has no glitches at all. So overall, he's happy about it. So now, you know the truth about this F-150. The 10-speed automatic transmission it has with 3 overdrives, so you can make a wise choice yourself, and maybe you already own one, and the transmission's a little glitchy. Hey, you might get involved in some of these class action suits and get some of your money back. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.